Brown 45. Brown 45. Hot, 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 hot.
You are listening to Any Given Sunday, Australia.
Yes, hello and welcome to the Any Given Sunday Australia podcast, the number one podcast in at least 3 households, 1 studio, American Football Australia head office, NFL Australia head office, NFL Media head office, as we are now fully media accredited. Joining us, as always, in his palace that is just north of the city at Danny Webb, AGSAU. How are you, mate?
No spoilers where I live. I can live anywhere. I can live under the sea for all these people know.
North of the city is a lot of places. Under the sea, that'd be interesting. But how are you, mate? We are officially 50% of the way through the season. I think it's 50.07 according to the stats that we got given to us because there was an extra game in the first half compared to the second half. Yeah, how are we feeling, mate? Weird stat, but
it's bittersweet. Cool. Like, the season's been great, and it's been such a good ride this year because, as we said, it's been closer. There's been more upsets. There's teams performing that we never expected to perform, and teams that we thought were going to do better are doing worse. Makes it incredibly exciting to talk about, and it's been super fun, but bittersweet because I don't want it to be over. It feels like it's gone too quick.
It does a little bit, doesn't it? 9 weeks down, and shit. I saw the other day it's less than 100 days to the Super Bowl already.
And baby, let's start booking our tickets. Let's get to New Orleans.
Nolans. We do have a game to talk about. It was a huge overtime game. The Chiefs getting the job done against the Bucks. But Baker did ball out. I picked them to lose by over 9.5. So he balled out and kept it tight and sent it to overtime. Yeah,
so unlike you, I picked him to keep it nice and tight, and the Chiefs get to win. So that's a double win for me. Might as well give me another Any Given Sunday point while we're at it, because leading by 2 is just not enough. Incredible overtime thriller. It was so good to see. More importantly, some major ticks on the board for us.
Yeah, so it was Melbourne Cup Day. I hope everyone got out and picked a winner, but $101 winner in the Melbourne Cup. Should have just stuck with us, mate. We were over about 5 weeks span. We're 33 units up, and we gained a majority of them yesterday.
Yeah, I think what worked out potentially yesterday, if you had done the multi that we did, backed all the legs individually, and did the Kelsey ladder, depending on how far you actually went with the Kelsey ladder as well. We stopped at 10. Probably should have kept on going, got 14 receptions in the end. If you just followed everything that we said live on the pod, which obviously listen to the pod, subscribe to the pod, get all your information from the pod. These are free tips. That was a plus 16 unit day.
That's huge. Yeah, it doesn't sound like much, but that is a huge day.
Huge day. Yeah, depending on what your unit size is. If you've got a $1,000 unit size, that's $16,000.
Oh. Yeah, it's much easier than picking a $100 winner in the Melbourne Cup, I'll tell you that, for free. You're right. Kelsey had a day out, 14 receptions in the end. Hopkins comparing himself to Randy Moss online.
Interesting comparison that he kind of did there, because he put up a photo of Brady hugging Moss, which is like, now it's Mahomes, he's the next Brady, rah, rah, rah. But Moss and Brady didn't get a ring.
Yeah. So interesting, comparison. He did have a day out, 2 touchdowns. We had him for the overs, which he had by halftime. So huge for them. But on the other side of the field, the Bucks, everyone kind of counted them out to be, kind of dog walked. And Baker balled out with, I think it was more Cade Otton, the big tight end. He had a couple of touchdowns and has had more receptions since the other guys. Finger up. What's going on there?
He had 1 touchdown. You said a couple.
Yeah, 1 is 2. But he's had a lot more receptions since the loss of Godwin and Evans. So one to look at if you are betting on the Bucks.
Yeah, it's probably something we should keep our eye on with them moving forward. Because if that's some easy money, that's our favourite sort of money to make.
But the Chiefs are 8-0. We've said all year that they're just going to get into the playoffs and do what they need to do. They're a 99% chance of making playoffs now.
Well, is anyone surprised at that?
I'm surprised, a little bit surprised of 8-0, especially the way they've been playing. But that everyone keeps saying about. But the fact that they are playing that way and still getting W's the way they're getting them just elevates Mahomes that little bit more.
And the next game they've got the Broncos. Broncos at home as well.
Divisional game though, they're always a little bit tighter. So
but I don't know. Is Bo Nix going to be enough to get past his defense? I don't think so.
Yeah.
And then the game after that, they got the Bills away, which is probably going to be their biggest challenge so far of the season. So
Is that a primetime game, Bills away?
It's 8:25 on a Monday, if that helps.
No, it's not primetime. That'll be one worth getting up for. I know we will be coming off night shift, I think, so it'll be worth staying up for watching that one. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'd love to know what the line is for the Broncos. I reckon it'll be a closer game, much like today's game, or yesterday's game with the Bucks. So, all we got out of that, Chiefs are 8-0, and you must follow AGS for your tips.
It's an 8-point line. Only an 8-point line against the Broncos. So that probably is why they're that little bit closer than the 9.5 compared to the Bucks.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I'd probably the same tip. Chiefs to win, Bucks within 8. I don't hate that one.
Broncos.
That's what I said. Big trade deadline day. It has been absolutely madness. I think there was 7 or 8 trades on the final day leading into the deadline. Some big ones that we probably should be across. We picked Zadarius Smith going to Detroit. You are happy with that one still?
Yeah.
Detroit, put your Detroit hat on. You happy with it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like we said, they needed something to cover the hole of Aiden Hutchinson. What a big hole he left. No, it's not going to be the exact same filling, but it's a little bit of topping in there just to kind of ease the burden. Like Detroit's defense has still been elite. Detroit are looking very, very hard to stop on both sides of the ball. They're killing it defensively and offensively without this. So now there's just a little bit more cream on the top. I think it's a great trade.
Yeah. The Jets have traded, and we kind of picked this once Devontae Adams came in, Mike Williams, to the Steelers. Steelers getting themselves a little bit more and just giving up a conditional round 5 next year.
Yeah, interesting on this one. So Mike Williams, before he went to the Jets, actually went and had a sit-down meeting with the Steelers, and that was like when he was a free agent. That was kind of like where he was tossing up. The Steelers are absorbing the entire contract of Mike Williams, which sometimes doesn't happen in trades, and then he's a free agent next year. So I don't mind it from the Steelers. Very smart from the Jets.
Yep, I like it. I like the little background there. A couple of ones just to breeze over. Preston Smith getting traded from the Packers. I'm a little bit disappointed with this one. We only got a 7th rounder next year. He's been a big part of us the last few years. He was there with Zadarius Smith. We had the Smith brothers off each end, which he is getting a little bit older, but it does help our younger blokes come through and get a few more snaps. So don't hate that.
Just quickly on that, he's gone off to the Steelers as well. So now they picked up a weapon on offense and defense. The Steelers are realizing that maybe they're higher than where they were expecting to be at this point in the season. Let's go a little bit more all in and push hard as we get to the second half of the season.
That is leading me straight into the next one, which I love this. Washington have obviously gone, you know what? We are in a little bit of a window that we didn't realise that we were in. Sitting 7-2, they've gone out and got Marshawn Lattimore from the Saints. They've actually given up round 3, 4, and 6. The round 6, interestingly enough, was from New Orleans, so just giving it back. They got Lattimore and a round 5 next year. So I love this, going out and getting some more weapons on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, so I'd say the 5 and 6 were a pick swap. And then, so it was like a round 3 and round 4 for the DB there. Very smart. You know, I'm huge on Washington. You told me to stop talking about them last time because I'm talking about them too much. But I'm big. I'm big on them. I like what they're doing. And the fact that very, very similar to what the Steelers were just said, they're getting closer to that push. So why not? It's trade deadline. Let's go for it.
Yeah. And another DB that has gone out and been traded. The Rams have traded Tre'Davious White to the Ravens. Again, the Ravens just bulking up that defense.
Yeah, the Ravens are just going to keep on getting better. They keep on making these trades. They got their wide receiver last week or early this week, whenever it was, and now, picking someone else up on the defensive side of the ball. I love this. Love this for the Ravens. Very smart.
The only thing is the Ravens are number 1 rush defense, number 32 pass defense. A DB can help on the pass, and Tre'Davious White could be helpful, but he's not a cornerback. He's not a safety. Is that somewhere they probably should have looked at a bit more?
Yeah, but maybe they've got confidence in their cornerbacks and their safeties to improve in the second half of the season. Bringing in a DB like that, might help change some of the mentality. You might be able to give advice. Who knows?
And the one that you sent me this morning, we just have a little bit of a chuckle about. Uh, Jonathan Mingo is being traded from the Carolina Panthers to Dallas for a 4th rounder. Now, Mingo in the last 4 weeks has had 1 reception for 1 yard. Last week, the Chiefs used a 3rd rounder, only a 3rd rounder to go get DeAndre Hopkins. So it might have been a 5th rounder. I think it was one worse. 5th rounder to get Hopkins. What is going on in Dallas? They have lost the plot.
Just to confirm, it was definitely a conditional 5th for Hopkins.
Which will become a 4th, for sure.
Yeah, it's probably going to become a 4th. But at the point of the trade, it was a 5th.
Yeah.
And if everything goes bad, it's a 5th. Which, who knows? Probably won't. But Mingo. One reception, 1 yard, Mingo. Going for a 4th. Jerry. What are you doing, man?
Yeah.
Like this, it would be incredibly hard right now to be a Dallas fan, I think. From the outside looking in as a non-Dallas fan, it is frustrating. It is frustrating to look at and frustrating to watch on what's been going on. Surely you could have got him for less. Surely you could have gone for a 6th or a 5th. Maybe even settle for a 5th. But like you put D-Hop and Mingo in the same basket. Like I know which one I'm taking every time.
Yeah, absolutely. The guy's got 5 times bigger hands. So it's just laughable what's going on in Dallas. And it does get bad to worse. It looks like Dak Prescott's going on IR with a bit of a hammy, mate. Yeah,
not confirmed 100% yet if he's going on IR, but it's definitely looking that way. Mate, yeah. This Dallas. So he went out halfway through the last game, or after a couple snaps, and never returned. And if it's a bad enough strain or a potential minor tear, there's no way he'll definitely go straight on IR.
Yeah, Jerry's come out on radio as he does every week. He's on radio, just putting his 2 cents in, and he said they're going to see how the rehab goes, but it's not looking good. He's going to be out for at least a couple of weeks, but more likely to be IR. Just having a look, who was their backup?
Cooper Rush.
Oh, they brought Cooper Rush in because don't they have
Trey Lance make him dance, baby?
And he's not getting a gig.
No, yeah. So Trey Lance always went there as a 3rd stringer. Okay. That was his position that he took. But yeah, at the moment we got Cooper Rush.
So Prescott went 18 of 24. Rush went 13 of 25. So it's not much difference what you're getting with Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush did play. I think it was last year. He had a 3 or 4 game span. Played pretty well. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I can't see them beating your boys this week, though. I reckon the line will be growing every day.
Yeah, as soon as you put him on IR. But, like you said, he's out anyway. He's going to be out for this week, potentially 2 weeks. And if he's going to be out for 3, why not just throw him on IR, let him heal properly.
Especially with a hammy. You don't want him to do any further damage and be out for the rest of the season. Like, you're hanging on by the skin of your teeth right now. So, chuck him on IR, let him rest, try and get back into a winning record, and then see where you're at after that. 2 teams that are absolutely hanging on by the skin of their teeth. The Saints have moved on from head coach Dennis Allen, while the Raiders have fired the entire offensive side. Offensive coordinator Luke Getzky, O-line coach James Craig, and QB coach Rich Scangrello.
Nice.
Happy with
Excellent pronunciation there. Do you know my favourite part about all of this? Minshew Mania is still there.
Still going. Yeah.
Still going. I think he actually got benched halfway through last game. But
still there.
He's still there. And I'm a big fan of the shoe. God, the Raiders are just blowing it up, aren't they? So they're obviously not happy. They're sick of having these losing games. I think it might have been Desmond Ridder who came in.
Yep.
Last week, and that
could be a little bit of looking towards the future. If he turns out all right, he didn't get much of a go. I think it was Atlanta. Didn't get a huge much of a go. I reckon he was a 2nd or 3rd round QB as well. So, did come in with a fair bit of hype. So that could be a look towards the future, maybe. Because I don't think Minshew Mania is the future, unfortunately for you, mate. But I'm actually a little bit more surprised about the Saints moving on from Dennis Allen. They have been terrible the last 6 weeks. and they did just get beaten by the Panthers, so that's probably the final nail. And it does look like a little bit of turmoil inside as well. Michael Thomas tweeting a lot about, how shit we are. We just got beaten by the Panthers. Getting stuck into Derek Carr, who came back this week as well. It seems like a little bit going on inside the Saints camp after they started 2-0 with the most points ever in the first two games.
I don't know if you were watching that final drive of the Saints versus the Panthers, but I was because for financial reasons, obviously. Otherwise, it wouldn't be the first game that I was going to flick on. But I was watching that game, and Derek Carr had a receiver, I can't remember who, had a receiver open enough that he could have got the first down, but instead went for like a game-winning touchdown. The ball got hit out of bounds, and they lost. He could have got a first down, they could have had... And so then it turned over on downs, I think, or something, so then they just had to take a knee to the Panthers. But he had an opportunity just to get a first down and continue the game. And he kind of went for broke instead, went for that game-winning moment. Probably wasn't the smartest play. Maybe he didn't see it, maybe he didn't have the read, and I don't know. I've never been a quarterback, never been in that position, and don't understand the stress that they're under. But maybe that's why he's copping a little bit of heat.
Yeah, but just for someone who was Thomas, broke records at the Saints, and now has a little bit of turmoil. I think he is on IR. I think he's injured, so he might even be out for the season. But that might be something that splits up soon. You never know. Some things to look out for this week. A possible CMC return. They have said for a fair portion that the bye was where they were looking at, and they've just come off the bye, and it sounds like there is a bit of a chance that he suits up and plays this week.
Which is going to be huge. Absolutely huge. So I think he has to play within these next 21 days, otherwise the 49ers are getting in trouble.
I believe that's the case. We probably should look up that a little bit more, but he's been designated to return, so he has 21 days to make it back to the field. Or I think he has to miss another portion, which they definitely don't want that. So, he's going to play within the next 21 days, but it does sound like he's back this week. And my Packers have him in 2 weeks, so good. Just give him a couple of weeks to warm up and then absolutely fucking smash us.
I reckon he's going to be back this week, to be completely honest. He's had a long time. So he was out for a couple of weeks before he actually went on IR. So he hasn't played a game yet this season.
He played week 1, didn't he? But then was a bit sore? Or did he pull out? No, he pulled out week 1, didn't he?
He pulled out. So
yeah, he did, because that was Mason
it's
came
been 10
out.
weeks. He's gone over to Germany. He's had all sorts of stuff done. Probably got all the stuff out of his system that he needs to, so now he can potentially come back. Who knows?
Ooh.
Who knows?
Yeah,
but
they're not testing anymore.
yeah, definitely not. No, I would never say that about CMC. I love CMC. He wouldn't do that to me. It would be great to see him back on the field.
Mate, all of San Fran are bloody hoping he does. It's against Tampa, who we've seen. No pushovers. Just seeing if they don't have any. I was saying a touchdown might be worth getting on there, but every chance he comes back with a snap, like a snap count, so he doesn't play every down anyway. So be careful if you are betting CMC. I think maybe this week. Look into the next week. He could come out and dominate, and then we look silly. But
I reckon let him play into form.
Give him a week. Yeah. He's not going to be far away from form ever. Like he's going to be straight back into it. But I'd just give him that 1 week, especially if they start to dominate. It'll just be like, yeah, mate, you've played enough. Let's worry about next week, kind of looking to the future. The Panthers. This is an interesting game. So they're playing the Giants. They've come off a win against the Saints. Bit of a surprise win. They would have been paying $5 or $6. They got the Giants in the Munich game. You went to this game last year. It was a hell of a lot better than this.
I was speaking about this on the weekend at our Capture the Flag competition that we're at, with people talking about how many NFL games I've been to. And obviously that was the top of my list. But I was like, I went and watched a game in Frankfurt. But it was the Dolphins and the Chiefs. And Dolphins were playing incredibly well at the time too. Got to watch Mahomes essentially in his prime, on his way to another Super Bowl. As far as like teams that I want to watch apart from the Eagles, that's got to be up there. So I had an incredible time. But yeah.
And now they've turned around and gone, do you know what? We're going to give Germany the Panthers and Giants game. So could be a stinker, but I brought it up to you about the Panthers a chance to go back-to-back. And I'm that not confident, but I'm that excited about it that I'm going to make them my any given Sunday bet of the week. Now, we do have to explain this a little bit more. We didn't think we had to, but Wade, the CEO of American Football Australia come on and said, "Oh, you picked against my Jets. You're an idiot." But
because he said it was just my bet of the week. I was like, no.
no,
It was me picking a roughie of the week.
Any given Sunday is a roughie. It has to be a roughie. We haven't designated over $2, but normally over $2. You're the outsider. And I'm going to back the Panthers. They are paying $3.22 on Sportsbet. So the Giants suck. So, and the fact that it's travelling as well, I think they are a good chance. A little bit of confidence in the building. $3.22 is just too juicy for me to stay away from.
Oh, how can you stay away from Bryce Young's 16 completions for 171 yards?
And what do they do on the ground?
Hubba Bubba did have 72 rushing yards.
Hubba Bubba. I like it.
Yeah, I like it. I said to you when we were off air, as you were picking it, just have some fun. And it is incredibly fun. I'm all about it. $3.22, it's a lot. The Giants actually nearly had a chance against the Commanders last week. Were looking relatively competitive. So it'll be interesting to see. But both teams traveling, you're on a level playing field. I don't think anyone really, as good as it is to go to the game worldwide, I don't think any team actually wants to leave America to play. Like, you're flying over, yes, you've got to spend the week there, but then you're jet lagged. You're not in your normal routine. Nothing's standard. So, which really does level the playing fields. Even if like one team is significantly better than the other, I feel like we're going here. It's a 50-50 matchup. So the fact that they're throwing $3 at it, why not jump on it? Any given Sunday, baby.
Have a bit of fun. And I imagine you'd get a little bit more of the knowledge than I would. Are the players doing outside of the norm? Like, they're not just showing up and training. I imagine there'd be some media commitments and stuff over in Germany.
Yeah, so when we were over there was cameras all throughout Frankfurt when I was there, like in the main square. They were interviewing, like, ex-players and stuff would come over as well. They'd have all sorts of events. Leading up to the game, I think they're trying to keep the routine as much as possible. They do different practice sessions in different arenas, not where they're actually going to be playing, and then they all come to where they're meant to be playing. So there's just a lot going on, and I think it's quite a big week for them. Anyway, so yeah, there's probably just as many media commitments as there probably would be before a normal game and post a normal game. But yeah, just with a little bit of extra flair in there.
Yeah, and you've got to learn German.
Dankeschön.
Dankeschön. We got a couple of quite a few big games this week. You've looked across the slate and said it's not an easy week to actually tip, which is exciting, which is what we love. We've got a couple of big games that I've picked. The first one is the Thursday night, Friday morning game for us. Doesn't get any bigger than a AFC North Cincinnati Bengals at 4-5, chasing the Ravens at 6-3. The Ravens with a 6.5 point head start, and 70% of people jumping on the Ravens. They're at $1.38. This was one that I looked at. So I think it's going to be a tight game. There always is a tight game. The last time they played, it went to overtime. In the highest scoring game of the season so far, the Ravens got the job done. But the Bengals have been on a tear since then. I reckon they've won 3 or 4, or they're 3-1 since that time. It's going to be a cracking game, mate.
Yeah, so the Bengals desperately actually need this as a win for them to try and get back up to that 500 mark. The Ravens are sitting at 6-3. Ideally, would love to jump to 7-3 to keep on powering forward. A game that went to overtime was an absolute thriller, and I think this is going to be very similar. As you mentioned earlier, the Ravens do have the worst pass defense, and Joey B's just playing more and more into form as the season's going on. As you said, it's 3-1 in the past 4. I reckon it's going to be thrilling, an absolute thriller of a game.
Yeah, and there's some things like Lamar Jackson. He went 403 yards last week and 4 touchdowns. And his 4th time, we mentioned the other day, 4th time with a perfect passer rating. He's in great form now as well. And the fact that it's in Baltimore, I think they do probably get the job done, but I reckon that 6.5 line is probably a little bit too big. I reckon there's a chance it goes into OT again. So I like the Bengals at the line, but I reckon the Ravens will get the job dne.
It's a spicy little bet that we've got going on lately. Picking the favourite to win, and I think you said 70% of the money's on it, and when that happens, it happens 70% of the time that they get the dub. No, I agree with you. I think the Ravens are probably going to still get this one done, the fact that it's in Baltimore. But damn, Joey B's going to put up a fight.
Yeah, like you said, they're the best run defense, worst pass defense. So Joey B, Jamar Chase, they're going to ball out. You'll see that in our multi that we're going to put together at the end. But yeah, I like the Ravens in this one. Are you going the same? Is that what I've got out of that?
Yeah, mate. Yeah. Sorry, Maxi, and your Bengals, but unfortunately, I don't know if it's your year.
Yeah. Last time Jamar Chase played these guys, just to throw it out there, 10 receptions, 193 yards, 2 TDs. So just throw that out there, just so you know. The other game we've picked is the Monday night game. Monday night for us, Sunday night game for them. Detroit, 7-1 Detroit versus the 6-3 Texans. -3.5 line for the Lions. And they're $1.53, and 62% of people have jumped on that. I was pretty critical of the Texans and how CJ Stroud has been going. And the Lions possessing the top offense for the season at the moment, 32.3 points per game. And you've said they're just firing on all cylinders, both offense and defense. I think this 3.5 line is in real trouble, and the Lions could, if CJ Stroud plays the way he has been playing, the Lions defense, with, I'm presuming Zadarius Smith's going to play, too much pressure, even though it is down in Texas. I reckon the Houston Texans might be in a bit of strife here, mate.
Yeah, I agree with you. I know Charlie said in our previous episode that no one's talking about Jared Goff for MVP. This guy actually picked him out, and I stand by that. He is playing some elite football. He's got an 82% completion rate over his past 6 games. Like, he is surpassing people like Peyton Manning for, like, the level that he is playing at right now. He's not getting enough credit for. So not only is Detroit defensively still just as strong, even though they lost Aiden Hutchinson, offensively they're dominating. You know, St. Brown was bloody balancing on his head after scoring a touchdown. I can't see how the Lions drop this game. The Texans have incredibly been struggling since losing Nico Collins, and now Diggs is gone. How do you possibly stop the Lions?
The mind of the Lions. And someone, when we were at the flag football the other day, I can't remember who I was talking to, they made a great point that everyone's saying that CJ Stroud is struggling a little bit, but it's always the O-line. The O-line, he's getting rushed too much. But Joe Mixon's having an absolute year. He rushed for 106 yards and a TD last week, and he's the 5th player all time to have 5 out of your first 6 games with over 100 and a TD. So if your rushing game's good, then your O-line is good. You know, you don't create holes without a good O-line. So it's not the O-line that's causing, CJ Stroud to miss these passes and, go 10 from 31 or whatever he was the other week. So, yeah, I'm just not sold on CJ Stroud at the moment, and that's why I reckon the Lions will get the job done and well over 3.5, even though it is in Texas.
Yeah, and we've been talking to a lot of people lately, and everyone's getting around this Lions team, whether you're a Lions fan or not. Like, they are just such a fun team to watch because they just seem that they are all in, all fully committed, super hungry and want this. And, Dan Campbell's just absolutely leading the charge, and I love the way he likes to take risk, but the calculated risk, and they seem to be paying off.
Yeah, so Detroit, 7-1, also a 99% chance to make playoffs. They are flying and well and truly deserve their number 1 spot in the NFC at the moment. The multi that we do have on is on the Thursday night, Friday morning game for us. It's the Bengals and the Ravens. We've gone Chase and Henry for a touchdown. Chase is first in reception touchdowns. Henry first in rushing touchdowns. It's a no-brainer. Joe Burrow over 268. We've said that the 32 worst defense in the league, so that's going to be hitting and probably hit by halftime.
Just on that, the last time they played, he had 392 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Jamar Chase had 10 receptions on 12 targets. His overs is only 6.5. Smashing that. Zay Flowers, 4.5 receptions. He's their number 1 wide receiver. He had 5 when Henry didn't down throw it. Lamar only threw 19 times. So he's getting a quarter of the receptions, and they're going to be throwing more. This is going to be a shootout. We haven't put it in there, but I'll almost be looking at the overs for points as well for anyone who just wants a little bit extra in there. We're also looking at Chase, Henry touchdown, Burrows overs, Jamar Chase overs, Zay Flower overs. giving me 9 on Sportsbet. I think you got 950 on Bet365. Put it on there. That's easy money. Put a half unit on that and put a unit on every individual leg. You'll 33. We're not 33 units up for no reason, Danny boy.
That's 33 and a half to you, my friend. 33 and a half. Don't forget that half unit.
That's a big unit. We are thinking a ladder. Is that right?
Yeah, it's going to be hard to not look at a Jamar Chase ladder, especially after him having 10 receptions last time. And his under was 6.5. So you'd almost go to 8, 9, and 10 as a little juicy one. Just drop down your unit size as you go along.
Yeah. Also, Zay Flowers is one to look at. He went from $1.60 for 5, I think it was, to $2.20 for 6. And then it was $3.30 for 7. And he had 7 last time they played. So another one to look at. But huge game, huge week, some tight games. I think it's going to be an absolute cracking week 10. And look forward to it, mate. Good luck to your birds. My Packers are going to absolutely destroy the bye.
Yeah, mate. You enjoy some much needed couch time. Get Love healthy. That's what we want.
Yes.
That's what we want to see.
Yes, we will be up and about after the bye. Don't you worry. See you next week, Danny boy.
Gamble responsibly. Damn.
Go birds.
Go birds, go.